All right, so today we're going to take a deep dive into Deuteronomy,
Oh,
chapter 10,
sounds good.
specifically looking at like the core messages of this chapter
Mm-hmm.
and how it even applies to modern life, even if you aren't coming at it from like a religious angle.
Yeah.
Um, I know some people hear Deuteronomy and they're like,
Eyes glaze over.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But trust me, this stuff is actually surprisingly relevant.
It really is. There's a reason that these texts have like resonated for centuries.
Yeah, for sure. So the backdrop here is that Moses is back on Mount Sinai, receiving a renewed covenant from God after that whole golden calf incident.
Oh yeah, talk about second chances. I mean, smashing the original tablets.
Oh my gosh.
That's some serious drama.
intense.
But the fact that there is a second chance,
Right.
that God is willing to forgive and start fresh, that's a powerful concept.
Absolutely. It's like saying, even when we like mess up spectacularly,
Yeah.
there's still hope for redemption. It reminds me of that saying, we don't have to be defined by our past mistakes.
Exactly. And notice Moses doesn't just like casually stroll back up the mountain for round two.
Right.
There's fasting prayer, a real sense of gravity to the situation.
Yeah.
It highlights the importance of genuine repentance, of acknowledging the weight of our actions and committing to do better.
It's not just about saying sorry and moving on.
Right.
It's about internalizing the lesson,
Yeah.
making a conscious effort to change.
And that segues perfectly into what God expects from the Israelites going forward.
Okay.
This idea of wholehearted devotion, not just going through the motions, but really living in alignment with your values.
Yeah, walking the walk, as they say. But what's interesting is even outside of a religious context, that concept resonates.
Yeah.
Think about your passions, the things that truly light you up.
Right.
Don't you naturally bring your whole heart to those pursuits?
That's the thing, this idea of wholeheartedness, it's wired into us. When we connect with our purpose, when we're engaged in work that feels meaningful, we naturally invest ourselves fully. There's a sense of flow, of being completely absorbed in the moment. Some psychologists even argue that this state of flow is key to happiness and fulfillment.
So maybe this ancient idea of serving God with all your heart and soul can be translated into modern terms as finding your purpose and
Yeah.
pursuing it with passion and dedication.
I think so. It's about living authentically, aligning your actions with your core values. It's about finding what makes you come alive and pouring your energy into it. And that, I think, is something we can all strive for. And it's not just about like personal fulfillment. Deuteronomy also emphasizes this idea of social responsibility,
Okay.
specifically caring for the vulnerable,
Right.
widows, orphans, strangers.
Yeah, those who back then didn't have like the same societal support systems we might see today.
Exactly.
It's like saying, look, a flourishing community takes care of everyone,
Right.
not just the strong or the privileged.
And it wasn't just about material aid, though, that was important. It was about treating everyone with dignity regardless of their circumstances.
Yeah.
That resonates even now, when we think about issues of social justice.
So how do we translate that ancient instruction into modern action? Does it mean everyone needs to be out there like volunteering at soup kitchens?
Not necessarily. It's more about the mindset, I think. Recognizing the interconnectedness of things,
Say.
that our well-being as tied to the well-being of others.
Right.
It could be as simple as like treating the cashier with respect, or as involved as advocating for policy change.
It's about finding what speaks to you, right? Where your own
Whatever.
skills and passions can be used to make a positive impact.
Exactly.
And that impact doesn't have to be huge to matter.
The ripple effect is real. Even small acts of kindness can have far-reaching consequences. Now, before we lose sight of the forest for the trees,
Yeah.
let's remember this whole section of Deuteronomy comes after Moses reminds the Israelites that God is the ultimate creator, and they are his chosen people.
Which to a modern ear can sound a bit exclusionary. But I think there's a deeper layer here beyond the specific religious context.
Yeah.
It's about recognizing that we're part of something bigger than ourselves.
That sense of awe,
Yeah.
of humility. We're not the center of the universe.
Right.
And recognizing that can be incredibly freeing.
Totally.
It allows us to connect with something larger, whether that's nature, community, or even just the vastness of time and history.
And with that connection comes a sense of gratitude.
Yes.
Not just for the good things in our lives, but for the sheer miracle of existence itself.
Yeah.
It makes you approach things with a different perspective, doesn't it?
It does. It cultivates a sense of appreciation for the present moment, for the interconnectedness of all things. And that can lead to a more compassionate and fulfilling life, one where we're less focused on our own ego and more focused on contributing to something greater than ourselves.
Okay, so we've been talking about second chances, wholeheartedness,
Right.
social justice,
Yeah.
that sense of awe and gratitude that comes from recognizing something greater than ourselves.
Yeah.
But how does all of this actually play out
Yeah.
in our day-to-day lives,
Right.
especially when it comes to our relationships with others?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it? Because let's be honest,
Yeah.
relationships can be messy. We hurt each other intentionally or not.
Right.
We let each other down. We make mistakes.
It's inevitable.
Mm.
No one's perfect. But I think that's where the idea of second chances becomes so crucial.
Yeah.
Just like God offered the Israelites a fresh start after the golden calf debacle,
Right.
we need to extend that same grace to the people in our own lives.
Absolutely. And that means choosing forgiveness even when it's hard. Because holding on to anger and resentment, that only hurts us in the long run.
For sure.
It builds walls, it creates distance. Forgiveness, on the other hand, is an act of liberation.
Totally.
It allows us to let go of the negativity and move forward with a clean slate.
Yeah, it's like hitting the reset button,
Right.
giving the relationship a chance to heal and grow.
Exactly.
But forgiveness doesn't mean forgetting or condoning the behavior.
Right.
It's about choosing to release the anger and resentment
Yeah.
so we can move forward in a healthier way.
And that's where wholehearted devotion comes in. If we're
Right.
truly committed to the relationship,
Yeah.
we're more likely to put in the effort to repair any damage that's been done. It's about showing up for each other, even when it's challenging, even when we're tired or frustrated or feeling disconnected.
It's about making a conscious choice to prioritize the relationship, to nurture it and help it thrive.
Yeah.
And I think that ties into the idea of recognizing a power greater than ourselves.
Right.
When we acknowledge that there's something bigger than us at play,
Mm-hmm.
it can help us put our egos aside and see the bigger picture.
It's about shifting our perspective from me versus you to we.
Yeah.
It allows us to approach our relationships with a sense of humility and gratitude, appreciating the unique gifts and perspectives that each person brings to the table.
And to remember that we're all in this together. We're all interconnected. And that ultimately our individual happiness is intertwined with the happiness of those around us. So maybe the real lesson of Deuteronomy chapter 10 isn't about ancient laws or religious doctrines. Maybe it's about something much more profound.
Maybe it's a blueprint for living a more meaningful and fulfilling life. A life filled with purpose, compassion, and connection. And that starts with the choices we make in our relationships.
So let's go out there and be the change we want to see in the world, starting with our own hearts, our own homes, our own circles of influence. Because even small acts of kindness and compassion can have a ripple effect, creating a more loving and just world for all of us.
And remember, if God's love extends to everyone regardless of their past, how can we extend that same grace and understanding to the people in our own lives?
That's something to ponder. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive. Until next time, keep exploring, keep learning, and keep diving deep.